Alright, so here we've got my December budget template. I am just going to kind of build this. It's currently November 19th, so we've got a couple of days before this actually starts. I kind of want to get ahead of things. I don't know how interesting this will be, but this is content I like to watch on YouTube, so I figured I would just contribute to the conversation. This is my December template, like I said. I just kind of copied over November and went through and erased some things, and I will just kind of walk through it and then we will get going. So to kind of give you a tour here, over on the left side I've got my income. I get 2 checks. I get paid on the 25th and the 10th. One of my struggles was doing monthly budgets that would start on the 1st and end on the last day of the month, but my checks would always have weird overlapping things. And so here I kind of started going from the 25th, which was a payday, all the way to the 24th of the following month. So here we do see that the dates reflected in the December budget is actually beginning on November 25th. I just got a raise, a pay increase, so this next check is actually my first one where I'm going to be getting about $100 more each paycheck, so $200 a month, which prior to budgeting I would have just blown easily, but now I'm very excited that I can put that $200 each month towards debt. So yay for that. So any other kind of income, if I roll coins or if people gift me money or something like that, or if I sell something, that'll all be listed here. The zero-based budget section, these numbers I won't really play with right now. This just kind of tracks what all the totals down here add up to, so I will leave that alone for right now. Pending is a category I like to use when I'm checking expenses in my bank app. If they haven't quite gone through but they're pending, I list them here because I don't want to list them down here until they've finalized. And then promos is like, oh, I've got a gift card to Red Robin I should use, or things like that. So I also have my goals over here just to kind of keep them top of mind. So I really want to save my $100,000, no, 100,000 would be great, my $1,000 emergency fund. I, prior to starting working with budgets each month, had a tendency to overdraft, and then it was a race to get to the bank before any of those fees would hit, or be borrowing money from people, and so I got tired of kind of living in that cycle. So 2 goals are no overdrafts and no borrowing, and then snowballing my debt using the Dave Ramsey plan. The first thing I do when I'm working on my new month's budget is I like to do my expense forecast, which I guess I didn't even talk about on the tour, but we're talking about it now. These are expenses that I know are coming. I've got a dinner on the books with a friend. I'm going to be traveling. I need to get gas. I have a pretty good handle on when I need to get gas on which days based on my normal driving, so I kind of plug that all in just to see what do I know I'm going to be spending money on, and then I can kind of build out the rest of the budget once I have those numbers down. So we're just going to pull up my calendar and we're going to zip right through here. So starting on the 25th, I have a dinner with a friend, so I'm going to put the date, which is 11/25. My general rule is for dinners I will budget $40, and for lunches I will budget $30. That includes tip and tax. If it's a special occasion, I might do a little bit more. I'm always trying to come in under that, so I've got some money left over afterwards, but to start I just throw myself $40 for dinners. If I'm planning to use cash, I just kind of indicate that by making the box darker. And so this is going to be Sarah dinner. Alright, the next day, on the 26th, I have a standing appointment every 2 weeks to go to a friend's house, and we do dinner and TV and hang out. So I like to contribute $20 when I'm there. Whether we're doing takeout, shopping for some Christmas gifts. So we'll see how much money I have, figure that out. Alright, the next day, we are on the 29th. I'm actually going to see a play with a friend. We've already got the tickets for that, so I don't have to spend any money for that. I'll do my $40 dinner rule here. I'm gonna do cash. I like to do cash for my dining out. So I'm gonna say dinner, Portland, going to Portland. Gas for that day, I'll probably want to fill up, so we're gonna For my fill up, it's usually about $60 to fill up my tank, so I'm just gonna throw $60 for gas. I'll probably get gas on Payday as well, so we're just gonna insert, shift things down, and then we're gonna do that. All right, so I've got my Payday gas, and I don't know that I'll be doing enough driving that I'll need a full tank again on the 29th, but between driving down and back up, we're doing that in one day, I'll probably need to get a full tank, so I'm just gonna leave it, and again, if I spend less, I spend less. And then the last day of November, November 30th, I'm going to see another play. I'm really into community theater and going to see shows. I like to act in shows, I direct, so a lot of my entertainment funds usually go to supporting my fellow actors in community theater. So I'm going to see another show the next day. Those tickets have also been purchased. I need to pay her back, and she hasn't let me know how much they are. But in terms of day of spending, we'll probably do dinner again. So I'm just gonna put down 40 and I'll reevaluate if I need to. Okay, we're into December. For the first couple of days, I really don't have much going on. I will probably need gas on the 4th. I'm going to see a play on the 5th. So, that's December 4th actually. I'm gonna put my $40 dinner down. I realize it sounds like a lot, but this again is just my first draft. I'm just kind of like, in a perfect world, if I can do all the things and spend all the money, what would that look like? And sometimes it's a lot, so I have to scale things back. But this is kind of the first draft. 8, 9, and 10. So yeah, okay, that's not too bad. December, I don't have a whole lot during the weekdays, but my weekends are kind of filling up. Okay, so that's the calendar stuff. Let's see, but that's not everything. So now I kind of want to just go in and again look at the gas. So if I'm putting money in on Payday, I'm filling it up, driving, fill it up again on my Portland trip, so, and then fill it up on the 4th. Honestly, that might be all I need. No, that's probably not true. I mean, I still have to get to the 10th. So let's go ahead and say I'm going to put more gas in on the 9th. One of my subscriptions is Tovala, so it's a meal subscription. I used to do a lot of dining out. I would eat out for 3 meals a day because I was out and about for work. I would have rehearsals, or I'd be hanging out with friends, and I would drive through for breakfast on the way to work. I would go out for lunch at work, and I could afford it because I had the money, but I wasn't really paying down credit. And I talked already about my overdraft and borrowing situation. So one thing that I changed a few months ago was to subscribe to Tovala, which is a meal subscription service, and I am using that for my lunches. It's about $75 a week, and that gets me 4 meals, which shakes out to about $17 a meal, which isn't ideal, but it's cheaper than going out for each of those meals would have been. And in terms of my time that it would take to like prepare lunches and do home cooking and go shopping, to me it's worth it. So I treat myself to the Tovala for my lunches. $75 a week is typically how that goes. Really, it's actually about $64 to $65 a week, but I like to have a buffer just in case I do an upgrade or something like that. So that way, again, if at the end of the month I got money left over, awesome, I've got money left over. So we're just gonna look at all the Thursdays between the 25th and the 10th. So we've got the 27th, we've got the 4th, and that's it. So there's only 2 there, because the way that Tovala works is I get charged every Thursday, and so we've got 75 times 4 weeks, that's $300. Again, it might be less. That's cool. So Tovala is accounted for, but I should also put them in here on my forecast just so that I know that they're coming. So I should have been doing that as I was looking, but you know, I'm still kind of learning this. I used to have a different budget that worked really well for me, but it was a little chaotic. Here, I have it up actually, I'll show you. So this is like my old system. I had the spending analysis, my forecast, my budget, and it's a little chaotic and crazy. So I finally, after watching some YouTube videos and seeing what other people are doing, was able to clean mine up a little bit. And so this is a little bit more serene and peaceful to look at, but this is only my second month using this version that I made, so there's definitely been some trips, I don't know, I can't think of an expression to use right now, my mind is a little fried. There have been some hiccups along the way, but I don't know why I told that story. The 27th is going to be a Tovala day, so we're just going to add this here, shift stuff down. We'll say 75. It will be out of my card. It'll be Tovala. So we're going to come down here to December 4th, and we're just going to insert that. Okay. And then we're going to go to the 11th. Actually, no, we're not, because that's the next pay period. I get paid twice a month, so I only really do 2 weeks at a time. So I'm only forecasting out to the 10th, basically. So in that period, I got 2 Tavalas. All right, so we've done the calendar. We've got Tovala on there. I've kind of plugged in the gas. Let's see here. What else do we have happening? So many things. Okay, so I'm due for an oil change. I think it's going to be about $300 to do... so I'm going to prepay for like 4 of them. We'll just put it on payday. For some of the stuff that I'm doing like right out of the gate, I'm just putting it all on the 25th, even if I probably won't go get my oil changed on the 25th, but I just want to know that that day the money is coming out. And I had called them to ask how much it was specifically, and it was 2 something, but I don't remember what the something is, so I'm just saying 3 to make sure that I've got enough. If I get to the point where I'm crunching numbers and realizing, okay, this is astronomical, I will probably call them and get an actual quote again just so that I can put in actual numbers. But for right now, just first draft is fine. So oil changes are accounted for. I'm in a performance organization, a color guard that I owe $100, so I need to pay them. That'll also be on this payday. And this will not be cash, so I'm gonna do that. Geico. So I used to have Geico insurance, but a few weeks ago I switched to Progressive, which is saving me $100 a month. And when I canceled it, they were going to be sending me like a proration refund situation. I have not seen that. I don't really know how that's working. I'm going to leave it here just because it's on my radar. Video editing. I'm starting YouTube again, but and I used to use, I think, Adobe Pro, which I think was like $23 a month. Who knows what it is now, but I think there's some free software out there, so I'm going to leave this here, but I'm going to figure that out between now and when the video gets posted. I got a speeding ticket. It was $201. It sucks. My dad did give me $100 though, because he was with me in the car, and so that's really kind of him. But I already accounted for Dad's $100 in last month, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. And I do need to pay this, and I should probably pay it on this payday, so let's do it. And I will do it with like a check. I don't know how they want me to do that, so I bet I can do it online actually. I don't know, I'll figure it out. But we'll do it on payday. So $201, speeding ticket. Boo. I'm gonna give my dad $72 because I want to pay for half of the flea medication. It's funny, I was gonna give him $72, he gave me $100, and that's for 4 dogs. So the family has 4. Tucker's mine, but I'm gonna pay for half anyway. All right, and then my siblings and I actually want to get gifts for my parents that are about $700. So there's that. Okay, so that takes care of all of this stuff, and that stuff can wait. All right, so this is not too scary, but let's add up and see what we've spent so far. So I'm just gonna figure out what the sum of all these numbers is and hope that it's under my paycheck. Oh, it is. Okay, so all of this adds up to $15.98, and my check will be $21. That being said, I have not accounted for any extra dining out or entertainment or whatnot, but it's nice to know that I got someone to play with here. So let's see here. Cool, that's nice. I got like $560 that I can put towards like my emergency fund, because I know that I've got 400 in the bank. I've got some extra cash laying around, and we're gonna see how November ends with what I have left over. All right, I'm gonna start this with 400. I really should throw like $200 at the emergency fund. So let's just see what that brings us to. 21.98, 21.57. So I'm over by like $40. Well, that's a dinner, isn't it? That's why we do this. We just kind of play and shift. So I think this is a good start. And I am at $26. $26 will definitely shake out from one of these areas that I'm under in. So I'm gonna leave that for right now. It's just a first draft. And this is, you know, kind of a lot of spending. And here I am with debt, and I have not got to my $1,000 emergency fund yet. But I'm not trying to do a scorched earth situation. I am not trying to... I think I'm kind of just taking it one day at a time and baby steps. Because, again, I used to have overdrafts and borrowing every month. Hundreds of dollars that I'd have to borrow from my parents. And I have not done that in months now, which is fantastic. So I feel like we're on the right track. Is it ideal? No. I've spent dining out. I used to spend $1,000 a month dining out. Again, 3 meals a day. But I've kind of curved it a little bit, or curbed it. I don't know which expression to use. Tucker wants to say hi. This is kind of a good first draft. The next thing I would do is figure out how much cash I want to take out, because on payday, I will go to the bank and actually take out cash, because part of my system is like a cash envelope system. So part of my system is that it's zero-based. I want to tell every dollar where to go. And as we get closer and payday actually comes, these numbers will tweak to actually achieve that. And once I find out actuals for some of these others that I'm guessing on. But the other part of my system is cash envelope. So I don't actually stuff envelopes, but I like to use cash for my discretionary spending. So if I'm getting gas, if I'm doing any kind of shopping or eating out, I would much rather use cash, because if I have cash, one, it's harder to hand cash over, so I have to really decide in the moment, is it worth that appetizer? And also, when I'm out of cash, I'm out of cash. Whereas before, I would spend until I was out of money in my bank account, but then all my auto payments for bills would come through because I just wasn't thinking. My credit card payment would come out the same day every month, and every month I was like, Mom, I'm out of money, and my credit card payment's coming out. So I have to tell every dollar where to go, and I have to use cash, because when I'm out of cash, I'm out of money. So that's kind of how I'm approaching this. So I'm gonna figure out how much cash I need to get. So we've got 40 plus 60 plus 300 plus 200 plus 20 plus 20 plus 40 plus 60 plus 40 plus 60 plus 40 plus 60. 940. All right, so I'm gonna take out 940 from the bank. I'm just gonna make that so it's a little bit different. I'm gonna get 940 out on payday, and that's what I'm gonna use to pay for all of these dark green boxes. So my current balance on my Chase credit card is $24.19.08. I don't know why it's in green. That's not a good number. We'll just leave it as black because I don't want it to be red and scary. It looks like my minimum payment for that is $81, and I'm paying a bit more than that at $150. So I'm trying to slowly bring that bad boy down. And the interest for that this last month was $57.44. So that's $60 that sucks, but we're making strides. So this balance is $91.38.55, and the interest on that is $219. So like $280 a month that's just being added, and it's icky. So definitely want to start, once I get my $1,000, start paying these down. And I'm not using credit. I'm not adding more to it. That was a system I was also in. I would run out of money in my bank account, so I would start using, well, I have $40 available on this, so I'm going to use it for gas, or I'll just overdraw it and it's fine. I'll deal with it later. 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 Well, we're here at later, and later sucks. My dad, I pay him $300 a month $150 goes towards rent because I'm living with my parents right now, which I'm so blessed and fortunate, and it's such a privilege. I remember a long time ago when I was living in Portland, and one of my coworkers' roommates moved out to move back home so she could live rent free and save for a house. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I live hours from my family. I wish I could do that. And here I am in a really fantastic position to where I can live at my parents and throw them $150 to cover like rent and electricity, or water and electricity and stuff. And I'd like to give them more, so it's on the to-do list. But I also owe my dad a couple $1,000s, so I'm paying him $150 towards that each month, interest free, and $150 towards rent. So I'm just kind of dividing those. I got my rent noted here, and then my credit noted here. Let's see what I owe him. I need to compare notes with him to see. I think I owe him $2,400, although I paid him $150 and I didn't account for that. So I'm gonna say that's my guess. I'll get his actual numbers and then we'll figure that out. I also have a Verizon phone bill which I cannot pay off early. Let's find out what that is. So when I last looked, it was $1,000. That was probably a few months ago, and I've been making monthly payments. So that's been paid down, but I know that I have like till 2028 before that's paid off. So I will figure out what that is. I'm gonna leave the as of date blank until I actually know what it is. All right, so that's the Verizon bill. And then my car note, I've got a car that has a pretty hefty car payment, although I have friends that have higher ones. That's just kind of how they are these days, and I know better. This will be my last car payment. I will, in the future, once this one is paid off, be saving up a sinking fund and then buy new used cars when I need to, because that's astronomical. But I am not in a position where I want to turn it in and get something else. Like, I like my car. It is reliable. So is it a lot? Yeah. Was it a mistake? Probably. But we're just gonna deal with it and debt snowball it and then not make that mistake again. Okay, so that's $35,000. So that's my debt stuff. Looks like I owe $49,955. So basically $50,000-ish. All right, fixed bills. Again, I'm paying $150 for rent, my car payment we talked about, my phone bill, and then my insurance. And like I said, I'm saving $100 a month. It was $263. So my subscriptions, I talked about Tavala already. I do have a few streaming, Hulu, Paramount Plus, and Peacock, and then YouTube Premium, which is amazing. So I'm comfortable with those and paying that, and I do watch a lot of TV. That I'm comfortable with, because yeah, $380 a month for subscription seems high, but $300 of it is really groceries. So gas, we're starting with $2.40. Now I'm just gonna erase these because it'll be easier to just add stuff as they go. I don't have any health and beauty, so like haircut, wax, toiletries, going to the chiropractor. So now for food, it's about $180, which honestly, considering that I was paying $1,000 a month eating out, to only have like $180 for 2 weeks, but still, that's some progress. The oil change isn't really entertainment, but I kind of treat entertainment as like miscellaneous. I should create like a household category, because then things like my oil change can go there. Or really what I think the intention is eventually I'll have a car sinking fund, and it's going to be car maintenance while I'm paying off my current car note, but then once that's done, it'll just turn into a car savings fund. I don't have that established yet, so I don't have anything for that yet. I will just put that in entertainment because it's what I would do. It's my miscellaneous. So we're gonna do entertainment. So we got $300 for the oil change. My color guard dues is $100. That speeding ticket also is not entertainment, but it's coming out of, I'm just gonna put it there. So I did it bad. I completely forgot a step. So again, this is new. I'm figuring it out as I go. My old system, I had it down pretty well, but I wanted it to look pretty. So I completely forgot. So I went through and I did my forecasting, and I, did all that kind of stuff. The next step, which I forgot, was my fixed bills, which come out on the 25th. I still need to account for these. So that's fun. I might have to hold off on my oil changes. So let's see here. I mean, my car payment has to be made, so that's huge. Let's just put these numbers in and see how much over we are. All right, let's start trimming some stuff. So that dinner stays. We gotta get gas. These three things are happening. If I get rid of that, well, it says payment in person, telephonically, or online. So I think I make a payment online on the 10th. So I'm gonna move my ticket to then. Oil change I also need to move 2 weeks. Alright, I'm gonna make the decision that we don't do dinner this day because we will have already had dinner in Portland, so we don't need to do it the next day too. I mean, and they're all with Janelle, so we don't need to have dinner 3 times. It would be great, but we're at that point where we gotta make some sacrifices. $323, I still gotta trim somewhere. Alright, I'm gonna pay the emergency fund on my next check. Yeah, maybe I don't go see Zootopia. No, I want to keep the little joys. I mean, it's $20 to go to a movie. So we're getting closer. $23. I really want to go to Zootopia. I could do a cheaper dinner. So then when I get to this point where I'm like really trying to stretch the budget as far as I can, I'm like, okay, 40 is an ideal dinner, but 30 is completely reasonable. I'll have to be more conscious of the prices. Maybe I don't get a soda and I just drink water, whatever. So I'm gonna do 30 for dinner. $21.55, $21.57. $2 off. I'm fine with that. We were able to work it out. I accidentally forgot about $800, but we made it work. All right. I think this is a good pausing point. I'm sure it was a bit wild to watch, but that's just kind of the process in my brain and how it works for me. Lots of checks and balances. But this is a starting point. So I will see you for my first check-in.